Hey Nathan, it's Monday, March 30th, and time for another Misconception Monday. The topic for today's Misconception Monday is myths about vegetarianism. The first misconception has to do with terminology. Some people get confused about which diet leads to which kind of food restrictions, so let's clear that up. People who choose a vegetarian diet abstain from eating any kind of animal, whether it be mammal, bird, seafood, insect, but they do, however, eat eggs and milk products. A pescatarian is someone who does not eat any meat except for seafood like fish and shellfish. Many pescatarians call themselves vegetarian, and that's either because they don't know the difference or because they don't really feel like explaining the nuances of their diet. The only problem with this is it can really confuse people in the long run. They might say to a true vegetarian, well sure you don't eat meat, but you do eat fish, don't you? Vegans are the most hardcore of the bunch. Along with abstaining from all meats, they also don't eat any animal products such as eggs or dairy, so their diet is completely plant-based. Some vegans will even go to the lengths of not wearing clothes made from animals or using any other kind of products made from animals. Now some people get even more specific with these diets, like certain vegetarians who eat eggs but not milk products, or people who call themselves raw vegans who eat only foods cooked under a certain temperature and don't eat pre-processed foods. But for the general descriptions, pescatarians eat fish, vegetarians eat milk and milk products and eggs, and vegans only eat plants. When you say the word vegetarian, some people immediately think of Peta, an organization that fights for animal rights, but sometimes does so a little offensively or underhandedly. A lot of people have been turned to vegetarianism because of Peta's efforts, but they are far from the top of the list when it comes to reasons why people have turned to the vegetarian lifestyle. Let's list off a few other reasons. Wanting to eat more healthfully, belonging to a certain religion or spiritual way of thinking, wanting to reduce their carbon footprint, not wanting to consume factory/mass-produced meats because slaughterhouse conditions are kind of horrible for their employees, and also a lot of animals are pumped full of growth hormones and the like, having picky tastes or issues with certain food textures, or actually just being grossed out at the thought of consuming animal flesh. Sure, PETA people and the like may be some of the louder vegetarians, but it's not fair to group all people with this diet as being animal-loving activists. Some people seem to think that like all vegetarians are in super good shape and like are way healthier than anyone who eats meat. I think this notion comes from some people thinking that like, oh, you can't eat McDonald's hamburgers, so you must only eat healthy food. In reality, while a vegetarian diet can help a person become more healthy by kind of forcing them to refrain from a certain food group that often includes unhealthy dishes, it's really up to the person to maintain a healthy food lifestyle, and that's kind of regardless of their meat intake. Basically, it's possible to be a vegetarian and still be unhealthy, or to eat meat and be super healthy. Like literally, you could be a vegetarian and just eat cake all day. No one's gonna call that diet healthy. Amazing, and maybe the best idea ever, but not healthy. Oh, and speaking of cake, saying vegetarians eat rabbit food is just like saying someone who eats meat eats, like, I don't know, cat food, because cats are carnivores. For some reason, some people think that vegetarians only eat salads, I guess. Well, they don't. They also eat pasta. Lots of pasta. Anyway, I'm pretty sure the rabbit food remark only comes from people who haven't actually encountered too many vegetarians, don't really know how they feel about the diet, and don't have much creativity when it comes to making jokes. I want to close out this video with what I think is a really grave misconception that people have about vegetarians, and that is that all vegetarians want everyone in the world to become a vegetarian, or like at least everyone they know. This is really not true. I mean, of course there are some of those like passionate vegetarians who really want to convert everyone, but most know that that would just be ridiculous. I mean, what would we do with all the cows? And furthermore, It's just a freaking diet. I think we should be more concerned about eating healthily and getting food from sustainable and non-harmful sources, and not whether or not someone leaves the chicken out of their fettuccine alfredo. I hope this video clears up some of the misconceptions some of you may have had about the vegetarian diet, and maybe it'll ignite some interesting conversations for you. Let's start that conversation down in the comments, and while you're down there, I'd love it if you'd go ahead and click that thumbs up button. Thanks for watching, and Nathan will see you on Wednesday.